Live on all my devices. Hello, family. Welcome. This is Dr. Kia Pruitt. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone's doing well. Happy Turkey Day. Happy Family Day. Happy Thursday. It's so good to see everybody. Check in. Let us know where you're hailing from, family. I see I am streaming on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and I think LinkedIn as well. So, hello, family. You'll see me looking from my phone to my computer, and you might even have me hear me talking to the grandchildren. They're in the background having a wonderful time. So, I hope everybody can hear me. You'll probably also hear family watching the game, so people will be screaming and hollering in the background. Today, I just want to say hello and happy Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone's doing well. We're wrapping up this year of 2024, so I'm so excited, family. We'll soon have a Saturnalia, what other people call Christmas, or the Season of Lights, Festival of Lights, for many of our Christian family members. And then, our Hebrew family members also have a holiday during this time called Hanukkah. And we have Kwanzaa for those who believe in the African American concept that was created by one of the scholars in the African American community. I happen to appreciate all holy days or holidays or festivals, and I welcome any time for family to come together. So, Grand Rising, happy Thanksgiving. And, I feel like, well, I should say, I know, and I can feel it in my spirit that some wonderful things are on the horizon. And so that's why I came today, is to talk to you about the quarantine. Allegedly, Earth had been under a quarantine, and the quarantine will be lifted. So I'm going to read something from a geopolitical analyst who's been doing this for many, many years. He's been a scholar. He studied Japanese. He studied many languages. And the gentleman's name is Benjamin Fulford. So he talks about how Earth had been under quarantine. And I think many of you are on this podcast that follow this podcast know that the Earth is under some kind of restrictive programming, dome, quarantine, or whatever you would call it, that has kept the whole entire so-called human race, or some people call us a God race of beings, or some people call us extraterrestrial beings or interdimensional beings that are in a human body. However, we do know that the Earth is under some type of dome, something that has kept us harnessed, that has kept our energy harnessed, that has kept us from progressing and kept us from ascending to higher dimensions. But I came to tell you today that according to our sources, the quarantine has been lifted. So I'm going to talk about that today. And I'm also going to show you the 439 governmental agencies that have been declared as unconstitutional and treasonous. So this is in alignment with the theory that the Earth's quarantine is being lifted when you think about all of those agencies that were created to put certain laws, which were really policies, programs, statutes, and codes upon us to force us to pay fees if we didn't obey them, or to abide by all these things in a way that would keep us oppressed and depressed. What I mean by these statutes and codes, like, for example, you have to have a driver's license in order to travel. And we all know that if you're driving, that means you're operating in commerce. Well, most of us aren't operating in commerce. We're traveling to go from point A to point B, to go to work, to see family members. So if you're traveling, you shouldn't have to create or apply for a license to travel upon the land that God gave us free range on, right? Another thing they did was they created these statute codes and policies that said you could not assemble, although the Constitution says you can assemble. They've created these statutes, laws, and policies that said things like you could not grow your own vegetables and food in your backyard through HOAs. So all of those things have been declared as unconstitutional and unlawful. So I want to show you those agencies because that was overturned with the Supreme Court of the United States overturning the Chevron doctrine this summer. So before we go into all that, again, welcome. And I want to say hello to everybody. Grand Rising to Malik. It's good to see you. We're always happy to see you here. You're a big supporter of the show. Namaste to Tiger Shiva. Welcome. We're so happy to see you here. Who else is in the room? Jamie says, Happy Turkey Day, family, and God bless everyone, and may healing begin. A love from Ohio. Hello. Thank you so much. God bless you, Sister Mary Helen. We're so glad to see you. Who else? I see some of our family members from, who is this from? DJ DD Palmer on Instagram. I see Denise from Instagram. Bobby Zayada. Thank you so much for joining us. Who else? Mary says, blessing soul family from Wisconsin. Keep checking in, family. Hi to Marge. It's good to see you. She says, Grand Rising to the whole family. Oh, we see Ohio's in the house. Hi, Selin Me. So some of the names are here. I can't really see that well because it's a little dim in my room. See, on this camera, one camera is dim, the other is bright. But thank you so much. Ohio's in the house. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and then spent my teenage years in Portsmouth, Ohio, which is Southern Ohio. Robert Gibson says, Kia, Kia, Kia. Hello, Robert. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Rissy. Who else? A Blessings family. Ara Wakasoon says, Insightful says, Grand Rising from South Carolina. Buenas tardes, Hermosa, says Brother Daniel. It's good to see you, Daniel. Greetings from Chicago. That's Star Wonder. I see. Hi, Anthony's in the house. He's always here. Good day. Good to see you too. Happy day to you, Brother Anthony. Who else? Much love to you, Gary. It's good to see you. Hi from South Africa, Dr. Pruitt. Phoenix Rising says, Happy Thanksgiving to you and the Soul family. Who is J Love says, keep up the good work. If money is in a credit union, is it safe? According to my knowledge, as long as it is Basel III and Basel IV compliant, yes, it is safe. So all of the banks, so-called banks and credit unions that are in compliance with being transparent, those that recognize gold as a tier 1 asset, those also that are in agreement with abiding by all the laws, meaning they will no longer take our money that we put in the bank and bail themselves in, and those that are no longer in agreement with the old bankster corporation that allowed them to take our money and make investments. So most of the banks that will still be standing once the republic is officially announced will be safe. So we know that President Donald Trump is the president-elect, but with the Brunson case being overturned by the Supreme Court, we know that he is operating right now, in fact, as the president. And so Joe Biden is just a face for the corporation. So if they make this announcement that the Brunson brothers case has been officially heard, which we know it has been heard, but we're waiting for an official announcement, and that everything has been determined in favor of the Brunson brothers and we, the American people. If that official announcement is made, then President Trump will step forward publicly as the president and publicly announce that the republic, our lawful government, and our constitution has been restored. But right now, everything is unofficial. So according to what I know, the banks that stand at this point, as long as they are Basel III and Basel IV compliant, are in fact safe, including the credit unions. But I will find out more information for you and get back to you on that. That's a wonderful question. Who else is in the house? Good morning. Cheryl's in the house from Victorville, California. Happy Thanksgiving. I see Jerry's in the house. Hello. He says, Happy Thanksgiving, Queen, from beautiful hills and mountains of upstate New York. Who else? Sherman's in the house. We've been followers of each other for years. Hello, Sherman Thomas. Thank you so much for being a fellow truther and a journalist in your own right, sharing the truth and the news with our soul family for many years. So Sherman is from Oklahoma. Would you say the big O, Oklahoma? Nebraska. He said he's in the house. You're welcome, Natasha. She says, thanks for this. I was wondering about this today. Were you? Wow. Happy Thanksgiving from Pennsylvania. This is family. Is that family? Family Channel, hello, it's good to see you. Hey, Diamond Mind, good to see you. Who else? I'm ready to leave my cabin with no water as soon as I get a blessing. I'm absolutely ready. So many of us family are just, we're ready for the announcement that, the planet Earth has been set free. We're ready for an announcement that our abundance will be injected into the global economy. The trillions of dollars that was promised to be injected into the global economy, we're ready for that. We're ready for NESARA and GESARA, which is the National Economic and Security and Reformation Act, and the global version of that, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, to be released. And for those of you who don't know, that is something that was signed into law in 2000. The military forced Clinton to sign into law that we will be financially liberated, that we will have a debt jubilee all across the globe, and every human on the planet will have tens of thousands of dollars put into an account, your bank account, or what we call a quantum financial account, for an amount of 11 years this money will be put into a non-interest bearing account for 11 years. And it's something that has to be used for only benevolent purposes. So the money that will be put in will come from your trust, because when each of us were born, we had a birth certificate that was signed and securitized, traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and it accrued interest. And that money, as well as other monies, were put in a trust for each of us on planet Earth. That money was supposed to be used to pay off or offset any debt and help us to live on. But in fact, the nefarious people who were the bloodline family, so-called, and who overtook our lawful governments all over the world, stole that money from us. So that now, instead of that money being in your accounts under your birth certificate, which was supposed to pay off your debts, now what happened was the banksters took control of that. And whenever you needed a house, you would get a mortgage, a death pledge. That's what mortgage means. And what they would do was have you to sign off on this so-called loan. And when you were signing it, you were actually, unbeknownst to you, giving them power of attorney of your trust. So then they would go and take that money out of your trust, pay themselves off for a mortgage loan, the car loans, your student loans, bank loans, any loans you got through the bank, business loans. They would pay themselves out of the trust, then tell you they're lending you money, which they never gave you money, and make you pay them again with interest. So let me go back. What happened was the farmers were the first to detect that they weren't the first to detect that this was wrong, but they were one of the first people or group of people that said, this is wrong. We know about our birth certificate bond. We know that each human on the planet has a bank account and a trust. And these banksters are stealing from our trust and then making us pay them again with interest. So the farmers took the United States Incorporated to court, and the central banking system took them to the highest court on the land, and they won their claims against the United States Incorporated. So the farmers are the backbone of our country. What gave them the incentive to do this, to take the United States Incorporated, the bloodline families who usurped or took authority from all of our governments across the world and enslaved us, was the fact that the government forced farmers to give us sick cattle or to grow sick cattle. They forced them to sow Monsanto seeds, and those seeds were heavily chemicalized. And they knew that these people, these banksters, were saying, if you want a loan from us, you have to literally kill the people on the planet. And they knew this was wrong. And the farmers felt very bad about this. However, they needed to grow the food. You're talking about people that have been doing this for generations. And so when they would refuse to sow with Monsanto seeds and they would refuse to grow sick cattle, then the government would say, well, you can't get any loans from us. Then the government would start stealing their land, confiscating their land. So the farmers kept fighting against the United States Incorporated, which the United States Incorporated actually ran the whole world, because those are bloodline families. That was a part of the Roman Empire, actually, which is why the United States Incorporated had the eagle as a symbol, because it was still the Roman Empire that had never really left power. So the farmers took them to court and they said, you know what, We know that this is evil, this is wicked, we cannot go on like this. So the courts actually determined that they were correct. And the court said that when the republic is restored, they will make sure that the farmers will be paid. But the court said not only had the farmers been mistreated, but so had we, the American people, and people all across the globe had been mistreated and financially enslaved by these bankster elite family members. So the courts, the highest courts of the land, said, we're going to put together an army. We're going to call it a Grand Army of the Republic or a global alliance. We call it the White Hats of the military or the White Knights of Nasara. They're going to choose somebody to lead as the commander in chief to take down all these organizations. By the way, you know by now they chose Donald Trump. And when we take down these organizations, we're going to compensate the people all across the globe for this financial and economic enslavement. But the farmers will be paid first, according to the ruling. So the farmers won their claims, and they put together the certain global leaders, certain benevolent bloodline family members got together, formed an army, the Grand Army of the Grand Army of the Republic, from all over the globe. They formed this army or these military forces. They chose Donald Trump to lead the charge as the commander in chief, and they systematically took down what we call the deep state, or those bloodline families that had enslaved the whole planet. Now, these bloodline families are non-human, interdimensional beings, draconians, reptilians, archons, those type of names that many of you have heard. So you have interdimensional beings that came to the planet for many different reasons, whether it was to harness the gold here or to force humans to become their slaves. I mean, humans, regardless of your ethnicity, your skin complexion, your so-called race, creed, religion, or whatever, they didn't even care. In fact, they created religion in order to further enslave us psychologically and mentally. They even created certain gods for us to worship, according to Sumerian texts that predated the Bible. Many people say the Bible is only 6,000 years old. So you have texts that predated the Bible that talks about these interdimensional beings. Even the Bible talks about the Nephilim, which were the sons of God that made it with the daughters of men, the sons of God being the angels or interdimensional beings that came to the planet and made it with the humanoid women. So the Bible talks about the Nephilim. Those are the angels or galactic beings, interdimensional beings that had human hybrids or giants or children with humans. So many people say that those who have enslaved the planet, those bloodline families, are not just interdimensional beings, but they are human hybrids. Their children have run the planet. And then if you were a humanoid and you decided to work with them, you had to make sacrifices, like eliminate your own bloodline. Okay, you had to make sacrifices like pass children through the fire and offer them to Molech. Sacrifices like child hunting parties, offering the child's organs and blood to these interdimensional beings. Now, when people came out years ago talking about that, people were deemed crazy or conspiracy theorists or nuts or psychopathic or psychologically disturbed. But then Hollywood entertainers, mainly child survivors of ritualistic abuse, started coming forward years ago to tell people about this. And now that we have entered the age of Aquarius, people are starting to listen. So our whole planet, family, has been enslaved by beings that don't look like us. Okay, they're not like us. Some of them look like us because they know how to shapeshift. They can shapeshift to different colors, shapeshift to different genders, shapeshift to different shapes and beings. Many people saw Queen Elizabeth shapeshift. They've seen presidents and mainstream media reporters shapeshift because they might not. In fact, not might not be. They are not us. They're not like us. They're not like us at all. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, about how these interdimensional beings enslave the planet and quarantine the planet. However, they have been eliminated from the planet, and the quarantine has been lifted. All of those statutes, codes, policies, and I don't even want to call them laws because they're not laws. What's the law of the land is the Constitution, but these statutes, code, policies, and so forth that they came up with, they did that to further enslave us. So not only is earth allegedly under some type of dome or covering, and the Bible talks about a firmament above, there's a firmament, and then there's waters above the firmament and waters beneath the firmament. So many people say, in fact, that means that we have a dome, and that's why you can see the rainbow shaped a certain way, kind of like in an archway, in an arch, kind of created like an arch because of this dome. But whether or not we believe or know, in fact, that there's a dome that exists above us, we know we've been enslaved. So the courts told the farmers that, yes, in fact, the farmers had undergone financial enslavement, but the whole race of humanoids on the planet had undergone enslavement, and they would put together an army to dismantle those elite, that so-called elite bloodlines, reptilians, draconians, and interdimensional beings, and in fact, not only liberate us, but compensate us for the trouble that we have endured. And this compensation would be allowing the planet to ascend, allowing us as humanoids to ascend, because these interdimensional beings had, in some kind of way, I don't know if they worked some kind of occult rituals, or if they actually tampered with our DNA to cause us not to be able to ascend and achieve our godlike powers. So the people who ruled in favor for the farmers said, all of you all have been enslaved and not been allowed to ascend at all. So the enslavement meant, like, spiritually or metaphysically, you could not reach your highest self. You couldn't fly anymore like we used to fly. We used to use every single area of our brain, and now we can only use a small fraction of our brain. Our limbs used to be able to regrow if we became sick. Our teeth used to regrow, like you have two sets of teeth, your child teeth and your adult teeth. Whenever a molar or a tooth, we would lose it, it would just regrow. Your skin used to regenerate. We used to be able to do a whole lot of amazing and magnificent things, but these interdimensional beings, and through trickery, magic, poison in the air, poison in the water, poison in the food, however rituals, whatever they decided to do, they were able to cause us to not only stop from ascending, but to devolve. Then they integrated programs like racism, sexism, ageism, political party affiliations, religion, to further divide us from each other and to separate families. I cannot tell you how much politics has separated families. Religion has separated families, because if you don't worship my God, I can't like you. If you don't worship my God, I can't hang around you. If you don't do what my church says do, or my mosque, or my, religious leadership say, then we can't even be family. We can't hang out together. We can't worship together. We can't eat together. All of those programs has kept us at some level enslaved. So now that we're in the age of Aquarius, family, all of this is being reversed, and I'm so, so excited. So I don't want to keep you much longer. Let me hurry up and get through with this so you all can go and eat your meal and enjoy your family. So I'll check in with you in a few minutes. Let me just say hello to a few more people, and let's get right into the podcast. Happy Thanksgiving from Texas, Linda says. Hello, Alvin from Lexington. I love you so much. He says, hey, sister. Great, Dr. Kia Pruitt. Diola says, happy Thanksgiving from Florida. Florida's in the house. I see South Carolina's in the house. Hi, Mariah. Who else? Grand rising to you too, BB Williams. He says, sending you love from Wichita, Kansas. Peace to I Will Maintain. And thank you, I Will Maintain, for the financial blessing that you've given me. God bless you. Heaven smile on you is my prayer. The downloads that I've been receiving from Source are being confirmed. The relief I received from this few minutes. Oh, that's great, Natasha. God, Source will allow us to be affirmed and confirmed. And I'm so grateful for that, because so many of us were called crazy from for speaking out all the things that was in us. We could feel that we were enslaved. We could feel that these people, these beings that were enslaved on the planet, all of them weren't human, because what human can literally take their own child and offer it to, the fire, pass it through the fire, or rip out its organs? You just, and what human would come up with those type of programs and ritualistic abusive behaviors? It had to be something deeper and darker behind humans who were running the government. But then you come to understand that the people running the government were not human, or these so-called humans that were running governments had contracts with these interdimensional beings. Hi, London Buckeye Scooter. That's my eldest cousin on my father's side. He keeps the family together. Landon owns his own businesses. My cousin Landon has like about 26 children, and he takes care of all of them. Right, Landon? He has run many buildings. He is the father of many generations. All his children love him. He is my grandparents' eldest child. Like I said, on my dad's side, he knows all the family history. He keeps us updated, tells us about our bloodline, let us know that we did not come from Africa on any slave ships, that we were always here in America, that we come from different so-called Indian or indigenous bloodline families. Mainly Cherokee was one of our bloodlines. So I'm very grateful for my eldest cousin, Landon. He runs a scooter business, motorcycle business, all kind of businesses, you name them. And I'm just so grateful that we have living relatives that keep the family in line and keep the history going all the way down throughout all of our generations. So I give homage and honor to my eldest cousin and our family, no matter how much older they are, even if it's just 1 year older than you, which he's a few years older than I am. You always give praise, honor, and reverence to the elders and respect. So I'm grateful for my cousin Landon, and he and all of my cousins, especially the male cousins and uncles, kept the women safe. So this is why I have a love for men. I love the masculine principle. I love the way men provide and protect. I love how men respect the feminine principle. I just love everything about men, because I had great examples of men who took care of their mothers, their aunties, their sisters, their cousins, their nieces and the nephews. So that's just an aside there. Hi, Landon. Thank you so much. I'm honored that you're here with us today. Love heals, peace, and prosperity, Mard says. It's a new time for us indeed. Blessings from Washington State. Hi, Will Master. Hi, Jay. Grand Rising to you too, Jay Love. Grand Rising, Crystal. It's so good to see you from Hawaii. Aloha. Let's see. Hi, Dr. Pruitt. Adelea Gonzalez. She says, happy Thanksgiving. Florida Rising. All right, she's making dinner right now. Hello to live in the now. Happy New Day. She's from Las Vegas. Oh, it's good to see you. I think Las Vegas is going to be very wealthy during this time of ascension, because Las Vegas actually has a lot of silver mines as well as some gold mines that have been closed once we came off of the gold standard, but those mines are going to open back up. Additionally, Las Vegas has been made a man-made desert because many of the bloodline families took away the water that used to flow through Nevada, California, and a lot of the West Coast. They took it and they I don't know how they held it back through dams. Many of the bloodline families, like those that are on the West Coast, like mainly California, the Pelosi's, Browns, Newman, and there's another Pelosi, Brown, Newman, and there's another one I can't think of their name that they run. Gettys, I think the Gettys. They're all related. So many of those bloodline families actually, like I said, harnessed the water, stole the water, and made it a man-made desert. But with this new age of Aquarius now coming online, all of that water will start to flow. Those dams will be released and broken, and you're going to see that water flow through Nevada and many of those areas and on the West Coast, and it's going to cause a lot of greenery to spring up. You're going to also see lakes spring up in that region and plant life just spring up, and some of it that had been hidden to be uncovered because the galactic beings that are here to help liberate the planet will allow that to flourish now. So I'm telling you, Nevada is about to do very, very well. You're going to see a lot of stores opening up there. You're going to see a lot of construction, a lot of homes built there. And that whole region is going to be so very prosperous with the silver and the gold that's underground there in Nevada, as well as some rare earth minerals that will be discovered there in the next 5 or so years. So you're in a great place living the now. Salute to Sun Goddess. Peace and blessings to you. There's the Queen reaching out to you all the way from Big Apple, New York City. Hi, Farad Mahdi Muhammad. Welcome. Hey, who is that? The Nature Queen from Jacksonville, Florida, my hometown where I live. Welcome. It's good to see you. Let's see. Don TC says, Dr. Kia, hey, gorgeous. Gratitude for anything and everything you do for the family. Happy Thanksgiving. Hello, Sister Lena. It's good to see you from Orange County, Florida. Let's see. Dudley is checking in from California. I see Bernadelle. Hello, Bernadelle. It's good to see you. Hello to you too. Good day. Ian Bell from Australia. Australia's in the house. Hello. Good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. Sound Hills. Hello, Gigi. It's good to see you. Robert is in the house saying happy Thanksgiving. Hello to you too, Solo Queen. Let's get through this right quick. Hi, happy Thanksgiving from Fort Lauderdale. Hello. Let's see. Trump 2025, Tiger says, happy Thanksgiving. Rich Prince, is always good to see you. Thank you for the information you always send me. As long as you realize he works for both sides, Element says. You must be talking to someone there. Yes, the new era into which we're going is so much more than money. I agree. Islam Moabites. Hi, Joseph. It's good to see you, my Moor brother. Happy New Day to you. Greeting to you, Royals. Coach Jay says, greetings, sister. Finally called alive. Welcome. This is an exciting time to be alive. I agree. Who is, let's see, Mud Fossil University had a great video today on the Giants. Oh, I want to see that. Please put a link in there in the description section or in the chat for us. Yes, all of these interdimensional beings, awakened ones, they do live amongst us. Nova Scotia Banks in Canada is closed early today at 3:00. Thank you. Interesting. Happy Thanksgiving, Lewis. It's good to see you. Hello to Willie from Michigan. Let's see. Drake is suing UMG, yet everyone uses they not like us. They not like us. It's true. Thank you, Rissy. Happy Thanksgiving, HC44. Has the quarantine been lifted or has it yet to be lifted? Let's talk about it. Hello, Logie says, hi, pretty queen. Thank you so much. God bless you. Hello, my love, Taj. I love you so much. He says, mwah, Pruitt. He always called me Pruitt or Key. Only people that are really close to me call me by my last name. Hello, my darling. I love you so much. Welcome. It's good to see you. Texas in the house. Hi, Joe. Hi, Sammy. Sammy always calls me his wife. Is this the Sammy I'm talking? I don't know. No, this might be the other. Oh, sorry, Sammy. I was talking about another Sammy. Always called me his wife. Hi, Sammy T. Good to see you. From Jamaica. From Ja. I love the Ja. Holland's in the house. Hi. Yep. Been dealing with that total mental illness from my entire clan and relatives and former friends. Yeah, they think we're mentally ill. I believe we need to lift it once we unite. All right. Gary, North Carolina's in the house. All right. It's good to see you all checking in from Australia. Who else is this? Awaken one. You are truly speaking my language. Much gratitude, Sun Goddess says. Illinois is in the house. Hi, Marcy. Just giving people time to check in. Hi, Awaken One again. Amy says, thanks for going live today. You're welcome. Greetings and happy Thanksgiving from New Mexico. Hi, New Mexico's in the house. Gratitude from Indianapolis. Hi, Jamal Bay. Peace to the gods. They're hiding cities under the lakes. Absolutely. Did I hear anything about the med beds? Yes, I'm dying. Let's send positive energy to our family channel here saying I'm dying. Oh my God, we got to get you to those med beds. I've heard lots of information that the med beds have been released and put into the hospitals, just waiting for an official announcement that these deep state nefarious beings have been eliminated from the planet. Valerie would love to move to, I guess, Nevada. Happy Thanksgiving, Sister Sandra. Oh, the UK. Oh, thank you for being here from the UK. Yes, it's the golden age, Jamal. Oh, the family channel has kidney damage. So we just calling on source right now and all of our guardian angels, the galactic family members, interdimensional beings, and all those who are able to send healing energies to family channel right now. We ask that these energies permeate your body from head to toe and detect any and every ailment and eliminate them right now as we speak. We give thanks and praise and glory for this healing that is taking place right now in your body. We command every single sickness to cease right now, and we put every ailment, every illness, every spirit that has come against you under our feet, and we command it to leave, to never return. We thank the source and God and creator and all those that are here to help heal you right now for the healing powers that have been activated in your life. We claim it done, and we say praise, give all praises and thanksgiving right now. So we pray that these med beds be released, but we're speaking healing right now to your entire body right now as we speak. God said we have power. There's power in our words, and we're going to use these words to heal, deliver, and set free. So family channel, we look forward to a good and encouraging, positive praise report on your health the next time you speak to us. And we will send you information on the med beds. I've gotten a lot of videos that have come to me, so I'll send them to you. Send me an email at kiapruitt@gmail.com. Kentucky's in the house. Who else? Do we still get land back? Yes, we will. And if you own property, you will get the allodial title to the land. Sydney's in the house. Thank you for joining us. My brother's name is Farad. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Again, okay, let's go, family. Salute from Quebec. Wahoo. Hawaii's in the house. Palm Beach is in the house. Did I hear about the Rothschild that died in a fire in Hollywood? No, Sister Belinda, I did not. You're not late yet, Pamela, eyes wide clear. We're just coming in saying hello to everybody. Big hugs and kisses. All right, to you too. If it is the highest will of this person, I ask that the healing energy is accepted. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you, Sister Kathy. Georgia's in the house. Who else is in the house? Yes, so be it. The healing, so be it. All glory to the Most High. Amen. So it is. Amen. All right. So, family, what I wanted to show you today was a letter from Benjamin Fulford that talks about the quarantine on the planet being lifted. But before I do that, let me look up the word quarantine, because I have a understanding of it, but I want to actually look it up and read that to you. Quarantine meaning. Keep checking in, family. And I won't be long. My family's checking in, opening the door, wonder where I am because it's dinner time. So quarantine, a state, period, or place of isolation in which people or animals that may have been exposed to infectious disease are placed. It's a place in quarantine or a place that isolates you in order to prevent the spread of an infection. So what are they saying? Are they saying we're infected? So this quarantine is not only just, this is deep. It's not only just about being isolated because you're sick and they don't want you to infect other people, but in terms of the human race here, or us being source in the flesh, we were isolated from other dimensions. We were isolated from other entities, from other galactic family members, and we were put underneath a dome in order to enslave us mentally, spiritually, metaphysically, financially, psychologically, and any other way you can think of. So this state of isolation has kept us from elevating and descending. And this is what Corona was all about, because Corona actually means gold. Corona means gold, as in crown, as in a golden crown, as in your crown chakra, which is an energy center above your head that once it's activated allows you to reach your God self. This is what the second coming of Christ is about: ascending in Christ consciousness, your awareness being opened up so that you can activate every area of your brain, so that you can use your powers to heal yourself, so that you can communicate telepathically, so that you can fly, you can become highly self-actualized and do essentially anything you want to do. Create at the highest level. Your natural gifts are about to be activated. So during the pandemic, the so-called elite entities, these non-humanoids or interdimensional beings that created, I don't want to say created the earth, but that ran the earth or ran the planet, what they were saying to each other is, we are about to enter the golden age where their crown chakra, as in crown chakra, will be activated. And these people are going to ascend as the planet ascends. So they knew we had entered the Kali Yuga, this different time where the whole planet was going to become a beautiful planet like it was supposed to be. Like the animals and the humans will start to communicate with each other, where people will start to reverse in age, and we will live the thousands of years again, where we again will ascend to our highest self or our God self. So these so-called elite people were saying we've entered the golden age. So what did they do? That's why they kept calling everything Corona. What they did was they said to themselves, we have to stop it. And that's why they entered or created COVID, this sickness, to keep us from elevating, to keep our crown chakra from being activated, to keep our pineal gland or our first eye from being activated and opening up and giving us an understanding that we are gods, that we are more than this flesh, that we can manifest anything that we desire. And so we've entered that time. We've already broken away from the third dimension. Many of us are in the fourth dimension right now, ascending to the fifth dimension. But that's not it. We're going to ascend even higher than the fifth dimension. So these so-called elite beings or these elite bloodline families were saying, this is the time of Corona. This is the golden age. We got to stop these humans from elevating, or else they will come to a sense of knowing that they are gods and that we have enslaved them, that we have become their masters. So they did everything they could to stop us. However, we still broke through and we still continue to ascend. Many of us refused or rejected the so-called cure for that sickness that they gave us, right? And we decided that we weren't going to take part in that. But you had pastors that were trying to force us to do it, political figures, governments, and governors that were trying to force us to take these shots or injections anyway. But the good news is that even if you took it because you had to keep your job, or you felt pressured, or you did it under duress, or maybe you just didn't know that they were trying to poison you and unalive you, we have the med beds and other healing modalities that will eliminate the repercussions of having taken the inoculation against the sickness that shut down the world. So I want you to be encouraged, because God always has a way out. Okay? You're going to make it. Now, we talked about the quarantine. I'm going to read you something from Benjamin Forford that talks about how the quarantine has been lifted. But before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about who Benjamin Forford is. Benjamin Forford is considered a controversial and outspoken journalist, but he's also an author and a former writer of Forbes magazine. He is from some type of bloodline family. I'm not sure what it is, which one, but at the age of 17, he denounced them and he rebelled against them. And he started living amongst other people who protected him in the Amazon. He is a Canadian journalist, but he was indeed born in Canada in 1961. People called him a conspiracy theorist and a conspiracy nut because he spoke against bloodline families that had enslaved the planet. And he was doing this, as he was born in Canada in the 1960s. He was doing this in the 80s, 90s, and all the way through the 2000s, saying there are bloodline families that are related to interdimensional beings that have enslaved the planet. And he spoke out about it in his writings in Forbes magazine. This gentleman by the name of Benjamin Forford started his lectures and criticisms about a group called the Sabbatean Mafia. And the mafia are elite bloodline families that control banking, government, science, research, entertainment, Hollywood, crime families, criminality, the drug game, everything. So he started speaking out against them in about 2005. In 2009, he acquired a Japanese citizenship, even though he was Canadian born, because he had to flee Canada. And he had to, like, even when you speak out in American writings, he had to kind of like seek some type of citizenship where he would be safe. So he got a Japanese citizenship and legally. And now he currently lives in Tokyo. Benjamin Forfeit, for over 20 years, wrote and spoke out against the Sabbatean Mafia and a group of bloodline elite family members that enslaved the planet, against the encouragement of his family. His family was totally against that. So he did that, and then he produced a big catalog ranging from business to gangsters to high finance and government corruption. Then between 1996 and 2005, he was the Asian Bureau chief of the Forbes magazine. So this is a man that's a prolific writer with a journalistic background. From 2005 to the present, he published some more than 15 books, but not just in English, but in Japanese. He has over 500,000 copies, like 500,000 copies of his books. He appeared in many different television shows throughout his lifetime. Again, he was born in 1961, so he's probably in his 50s or early 60s. I would say 60s. So he was in many TV shows over the course of his period, and he does a 2-hour show every week. You can find him on rumble.com, but he also has a website, Benjamin Forfeit. I think it's benjaminforfeit.net. So this was a gentleman that spoke out against AIDS and SARS, and he told everybody that they were bioengineered weapons that were designed to reduce the population, and specifically the Asian population, because he lived in Asia. And that's when, people who were reporting on him pretended like they were friends of him, but then they turned on him and say he was a conspiracy nut. But he's one of the first ones that say AIDS and SARS were created by governments and bloodline families to eliminate the human population. He was one of the first ones that said that there was a Chinese secret society that we now know is called the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party. But he said there's a secret society with a membership of more than 6 million, including 1.8 million gangsters and 100,000 professional assassins. And he told people about this, and he said that these assassins had issued an ultimatum to the Illuminati, because these bloodline families fight against each other. And these assassins, though, warned the Illuminati to step down, and if they persist within their plan to depopulate the earth, they will be stopped. So you have bloodline families fighting against each other, but this bloodline, the Asian secret society, which I believe he said there's a good faction of them, told the Illuminati to stand down. Now, when he was saying this in the 90s and the 2000s, people said he was crazy. There's no such thing as an Illuminati. There's no such thing as a benevolent faction of the Asian secret society that's telling the Illuminati to stand down, and that this man was a nut. But he kept speaking out, and he kept covering geopolitics. Well, now people are starting to listen to him, because a lot of the things that he talked about in terms of these secret societies working, some with each other, some to take other ones down, now people can see it playing out. They're starting to listen to the intel that he had been giving over the course of many, many years, many decades. He became famous actually on the internet and in conspiracy theories in 2007, since he somehow managed to get an in-depth interview with David Rockefeller. And the Rockefellers is one of those 13 bloodline families that owned or controlled the whole world. He got an in-depth interview with David Rockefeller. And in the interview, Rockefeller delivered a threatening ultimatum on the elite to step down peacefully or face the consequences. So this was crazy, because David Rockefeller, who was one of the bloodline family members, telling the other bloodline family members, we got to step down peacefully or we're going to face the consequences. It's kind of reminiscent of the Pope writing the letter that we call motu proprio in 2014 and 2015 to Obama, saying, this is the Pope, who's the head of the United States Incorporated back then, telling Obama, and warning all the bloodline families in America and across the world through his letter, we got to stand down. Remember I told you about motu proprio? The Pope says everyone must cease and desist. The police officers must cease and desist. He said the FBI must cease and desist. The CIA, IRS, all three-letter organizations, all of the agencies that call themselves government agencies are not a part of the government. He said there are corporations and they have worked together with me to enslave the planet, and we have to stop. And if we don't cease and desist immediately, as well as the court workers, the judges and lawyers, if we don't stop, then a grand army of the republic will be created to force us to stop. That's what the Pope said in motu proprio, his letter to Obama. He went further on to say that the United States Incorporated is not a government, but it is a corporation, a group of bloodline families that were incorporated in 1871 in Delaware and registered as a nonprofit religious organization with me as the head, the Pope said. And we worked with the British Crown. And he said, we went on and we enslaved African Americans, forced them to become indentured servants to pay off the debt. And then we went a step further and we enslaved the whole planet to force them to pay off our debts. So that's kind of weird. Why would the Pope say this? Why would he turn on his own kind or his own self? Because he knew his time was up. So perhaps that is what David Rockefeller did in his interview with this gentleman known as Benjamin Fulford. He warned everybody through that interview that Benjamin had given him that we must stand down. He gave a threatening ultimatum to the elite that they all must step down peacefully or face the consequences. And now we see the consequences. Their assets have been frozen, right? And many of them have actually faced military tribunals. So we know about the assets being frozen through Executive Order 138.13. Is it 138.13 or 138.18? President Donald Trump's executive order to freeze the assets of anyone who participates in crimes against humanity. We actually see that happening right now. So Benjamin Fulford says that all he wants to do is to save the planet. And so when you look at his record and you read his website and his reports and you hear about his reports, you know that indeed he's doing a phenomenal job of liberating the planet by giving us details of what's going on behind the scenes. Now, remember, he's a part of some type of bloodline family himself, and he fled and turned and decided to liberate humanity. He hid out in the Amazon forest to protect himself, and he actually, although he was Canadian born, became safe by being covered by Japanese secret society members, that the benevolent faction. At least that's how I understand it. So let me read to you what he said in his most recent report. I just want to give you a little bit of background information about who he is. So he's a geopolitical analyst out of Japan. He still writes for many different newsletters, mainly his own. He no longer writes for or publishes for Forbes, but he used to. He studied government, he studied politics, he studied finances, he also studied business. So the man has a repertoire of credentials that make him credible in my eyes. And many people in the Truther community do read some of his reports. So it's important for me to tell you a little bit about him, as well as to tell you some information before I go into this newsletter. You're going to hear him say the real Donald Trump versus the fake Donald Trump. Benjamin Fulford is one of the people that has told us for years that the real Donald Trump, the first one that existed, actually died in a helicopter crash in 1989. And this is no new news. Some of us have heard this before. And we've also heard this from John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., the real John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., who has come out in recent years to say that he was put into protective custody when his father, JFK Sr., was assassinated. Now, the 61st anniversary of JFK Sr.'s assassination was just a few days ago. I think it was November 22nd or 23rd. I can't remember which day, maybe the 22nd. But the next day was actually JFK Jr.'s birthday, the real one. The real JFK Jr. is not one person, a person that most people know. His other name is David Quigley. He was put into protective custody. And this is his word, and you can read his book called Stolen Identity. He was put in protective custody and allowed to live, although he went through ritualistic abuse, child abuse, drug abuse, MK Ultra mind controlling programs. Once the deep state killed his father, JFK Sr., unalived his mom, Jackie Kennedy, unalived his stepfather, Aristotle Onassis, who is an oil billionaire and a shipping magnate billionaire. They unalived him, but what they did is they replaced the real JFK Jr. with George. Remember George magazine? So JFK Jr. allegedly created this magazine called George. Well, he was letting us know in quoted messages that his real name was George, this fake JFK Jr. The fake JFK Jr., the one that they put in front of us with the olive complexion and dark hair, the one that died in a plane accident or a helicopter crash, whatever. He was actually the son of, this is the story that my understanding, he was the son of Aristotle Onassis and his mistress, Maria Callas, who was Callas. She was an opera singer. So they unalived JFK Sr., they unalived Jackie Kennedy. When they unalived her husband, she married Aristotle Onassis for protection. Then they unalived him. Well, JFK Jr., the real one, now no longer had his stepfather, Aristotle Onassis, to protect him, no longer had his mother, but the deep state elite faction took him and put him in protective custody while raping him, molesting him, and abusing him, because they're all elite bloodline families that are part of a mafia, a gangster coalition or corporation. It's hard to understand. They do certain things to children. They ritualistically abuse them. They put them to mind programming programs. They unalive their family members so that they can steal the money, and they even force them to unalive people. And if that's hard to believe, all you got to do is listen to Allie Carter. She says the same thing. You follow her on Instagram. Many children of Hollywood actors tell us this, and people are coming out to tell us this. So a long story short, J.F. Kennedy Jr. told us in his book, Stolen Identity, that Donald Trump, the real Donald Trump, is his cousin. And he says the same thing. I saw him when they unalived him in 1989. He was my first cousin. So I know I saw him dead. And a lot of people are having a hard time, believing that. And I'm okay with it because, look, I don't know. I wasn't there. But he says the same thing that Benjamin Fulford has been saying for years. I've been following Benjamin Fulford for nearly a decade. He's been saying this for years. The real Donald Trump was unalived in 1989. So what I tell people is, when they say, well, who is this Donald Trump that's the commander in chief? I'm saying, look, we know he has many body doubles. We know that people wear masks and cover their faces and their bodies and pretend to be him. Who knows who the real Donald Trump is? But you're going to hear in this newsletter here, Benjamin Fulford talk about the real Donald Trump versus the fake Donald Trump. And what he means by the real Donald Trump is not the one that he's been saying has been unalived in 1989. Please follow me. But the so-called real one that's masquerading as him, or that's standing in his seat right now. That one. He says there's one that's benevolent, that's actually leading the charge to take down the deep state, and that's restoring the republic, and that is bringing us back to the law of the land or constitutional law. And then there's a body double that is controlled by the deep state that is doing nefarious things. So he has stopped talking about the real one that passed in 1989. I have a recent video of him. So I've had videos of him saying that years ago, but I have a recent video of saying the real one passed away in 1989. But because most people can't grasp that, he doesn't even talk about that anymore. He just talks about the real one, the one that people know right now, and the fake one, which is the one or ones that are controlled by the deep state, the body doubles, the clones, the one that has put certain people in power on his cabinet that we all know is deep state. So I just want to say that because I don't want anybody to get confused. Yes, he has said that the real Donald Trump passed in 1989, but he doesn't even say that anymore. He talks about the real one that people know now. This is the one that the powers that be, the benevolent ones, have put in charge as the commander-in-chief, that is sitting in a seat of righteousness to bring us back to the republic. And that's what I always tell my friends that ask me, do you believe the real one died in 1989 or not? Well, if he died, who was the one that we all, agree with, and who is the one that we see and we support? And I say, look, I don't look at the man or the flesh. I'm looking at the seat or the office. Okay, the avatar, the seat, the office, the entity, the name that the benevolent faction or group of bloodline families is using to trump the deep state or take out the deep state. That's who I'm supporting, because God or source can use whomever he wants to use. And I respect the seat and the office of anybody that's taking down these bloodline families that have enslaved the planet. So I just want to go over that just a little bit, so that when you see him talk about the real versus the fake Donald Trump, you can know he's talking about the one that the Grand Army of the Republic put in charge to take down the deep state. That's the good one. The fake one is all these body doubles. Okay. And then after I read this newsletter, I want to show you the group of government offices that now have to be dismantled because they've been considered unconstitutional. So I hope you guys are following me here. I don't mean to make anything hard to understand or overstand. Rasta said there's a blue tie versus the red tie. Thank you for that. I think the real one died in 1987. See, at Mickey M, you're right. People know this. People have been hearing this, right? But a lot of people just didn't know it, or because they keep playing with our minds. That we just don't know what to believe. And when I say playing with our minds, you guys have heard of what do they call that? What's it called when they switch the timelines on you? Oh God, what's that called? Mandela effect. Remember Nelson Mandela, when he recently died, people were saying, oh, he was a great guy. And, he brought all the people in South Africa together. And, he put the white faction and the Black ones, South Africans and the white South Afrikaners together. He was a wonderful man. A lot of people really believed he came out of prison and he ran the government. But people like me remember he died in prison in like the 1980s, 1990s. So we're like, what are y'all talking about? Who is this new guy that came out as Nelson Mandela that divorced his wife? He brought everybody together. I mean, hallelujah that he brought everybody together. But that ain't the real Nelson Mandela, because we remember the funeral, right? So they can play on your mind and switch timelines and do all type of crazy things. So if Donald Trump died in 1987, who's this new Donald Trump that we see? Or did he die in 1987? Or which timeline are we on? Like, these bloodline families are doing crazy things to us. So the Mandela effect, when you see that happening, you see certain events, an occurrence transpire, play out. But some of you are saying, I saw that happen years ago. And I'm not crazy. I'm just like Queen Elizabeth. She died about 3 or 4 times. I reported on her death 3 times. When it happened 3 different times. Said in the last 5 or 6 years, Queen Elizabeth died 3 times. And people act like it was a new occurrence. I'm like, what the heck? I reported when she first died a couple years ago, then she died a second time, and each time it happens, people are like, oh my God, we can't believe Queen Elizabeth died. I'm like, is this deja vu? What is happening here? So the Mandela effect is something that many of us are experiencing, where we don't know if the person died when they said he died the first time, or if they just died most recently, or they're playing mind tricks on us with body doubles and clones. Yes, there's a purple tie, a red tie, a blue tie, and I've even seen a gold tie. 2 of his clones died recently, Paul said. Thank you. Gosh, you guys, I'm so glad y'all know this information. I don't look or sound crazy to everybody. Thank you. There's also the Trump at the rallies, and he says he's not the real one. Wow, I didn't know that. But the tie Trump is used by the blue tie Trump is used by the deep state. Sister Felicia says, thank you. Even Ben Carson in 2016, 2017 said there were 2 Donald Trumps. He sure did, Gary. I remember that. Isn't this interesting? The red Trump is following the new higher timeline to free us out of the old monetary system. Thank you, Felicia. Queen Elizabeth died 3 or 4 times. You remember that? I remember. Adrian says, Dr. Kia, when President-elect Donald Trump took office in January 2020, January 20th, let's see, when President-elect Donald Trump took office in January 20th, what do you eliminate? All the federal agents was once part of the corporation. Yes, all the federal agents are actually corporate entities. They are all registered. They have Dun and Brand DNB numbers. They are supposed to pay taxes, but they probably don't. They're corporations, which are dead entities. Corpse means dead. They have nothing to do with our lawful government, the republic. They have some type of agreements with the United States Incorporated. Okay. And you know they had those agreements when you saw the Chevron doctrine be overturned. This summer, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Chevron doctrine and stated that all 439 entities that had created and called themselves government entities were not part of our republic, that they had created their own statutes, codes, and policies for us to abide by, and that was very treasonous. So they are unconstitutional and treasonous, and they must be dismantled. When the Supreme Court said that, they went a step further and said that when we would challenge these agencies like the FBI, CIA, IRS in court and say that they were unlawful or that we shouldn't have to abide by their so-called laws, the judges would then say we had to abide by those statutes and codes. They would defer back to, the judges would defer. That's why they changed it from the Chevron doctrine to the Chevron deference. The judges and the courts would say that they were deferring back to these government agencies because they were the experts and said, in fact, we had to abide by any rules that they came up with or we would be fined. The Supreme Court of the United States overturned all of that this summer. So then they went a step further and said, any judge that deferred back to these agencies when any of us challenged them, that did that, they were considered treasonous, just like all of those 439 government agencies, because they're not part of our government. And any judge that knew of a judge that deferred back to those agencies when any of us challenged them, that did so and knew that this was happening and they did not report it to the president, they had committed misprision of treason. So the penalty of treason or high treason is death. So many of these government agencies all have some type of leaders, all have directors. If they all will have to face military tribunals, and some of them will come out without their lives. So all of those federal agencies will have to be eliminated because they are treasonous, unconstitutional, and they harmed us all. So treason is not just about going against the government. It is creating laws to enslave the people as well when you get detailed into the definition of treason. So all those government agencies, and I'll show you a list of them, they have to be dismantled. All these mass secret actors talking to us is spooky. I agree. You ain't lying, goddess. Sun Goddess says, we got to hold on to our divine crown. And Hawks Nest says, I think Junior is Trump these days. Oh, John F. Kennedy Jr.? Oh, wow. I'm hoping he gets justice for them, taking out both of his parents and his stepfather, stealing his money, taking out his bloodline, his family members, putting him through MK Ultra mind programming, molesting him, beating him, mutilating him. You guys have to read Stolen Identity by J.F. Kennedy Jr. They also when they put him in witness protection, said, this is your new mom and dad, Quigley, the Quigleys. And they named him, took his name away from him, and named him David Quigley. Same thing they did to Whitney Houston's daughter that she had when she was 16. Her eldest daughter, Rena, was taken away from her, put in child sex trafficking, and then given that whole child sex trafficking ring, and then given to a family. And she was told, this is your mother and daughter. And that happened when she was a small child. So she only had little memories of her mom being Whitney, but that didn't play out. She was like, I know I have a real mother, and these people are saying this is my real mother, but why are they abusing me? And why are they sexually abusing me? And why are they selling me to different family members to be sexually abused and mentally, emotionally traumatized? And it wasn't until Whitney found her the year that she was unalived, I think that was 2012, and told her, I'm your mother, that everything started coming together. So it's not just JFK Kennedy Jr. that I've met that tells the story. It's Whitney's daughter, Rena Houston. You can look it up right now. You'll see Theola. What's her name? Theola Brown, I think. That's Bobby Brown. Married Whitney Houston, married Bobby Brown. His sister came straight out and said, I heard that Whitney has a secret child. And if it's true, I want to help her. Well, she knew that was a secret child. Rena has told me many stories about how, they've had many conversations. She found her. You see that the National Enquirer came out with a whole story on Whitney Houston's secret child. And you see, if you look up Whitney Houston's secret child, Whitney has a child named Rena Houston. You Google that, you'll find information on it. These children of stars have been telling us we've been stolen from our family members and put into child sex trafficking rings, given a whole new identity and stripped from all of our inheritance. And Rena's been made to live in poverty. Whitney's eldest daughter, JFK Jr., he's been forced to live in poverty. Allie Carter, many of these kids. I met Nancy Pelosi's daughter-in-law. She told me that her kids that she had by Nancy Pelosi's son were taken away from her and, put through all type of abuse. And she told me how she was forced to live without her kids and, had her name dragged through the mud. And this heinous things that these people have done. So let me get on so you guys can eat your dinner. I'm sorry for keeping you. So let me show you this letter by Benjamin Fulford. It says the quarantine on planet Earth is about to be lifted. And I will say that it's being lifted because we've gone into or reached the golden era, which is also called the age of Aquarius. You can see this at benjaminfulford.net/quarantine on Earth about to be lifted. Okay. And let me put this in the chat for you guys right now. So maybe you can read along with me. Please give me about 15 more minutes, family. And thank you all so much for sending the Cash App blessings that you all send to me. I appreciate you. I can't see your name, but I can see it come through. So I appreciate you. God bless you. Having a smile on you is my prayer. I appreciate all the love, the support, the prayers, the thoughts, the emails, everything you guys are doing to make sure that I'm taken care of. Thank you so much. And for anyone else who wants to send a blessing, $, Mama Kia 13. It's at the ticker at the bottom here. MAMAKIA 13. Here it is, Benjamin Fulford. Oh, yes. John Walsh's daughter came out and talked about how her brother was kidnapped and made or unalived, and how the father which is a part of these secret societies and bloodline families, participated and had knowledge of her brother, his own son, being unalived. And she speaks out about that right now. Thank you so much. Leola Brown. Let me see if I can find that article. Leola. Oh, wait a minute. Here you go. Let me show you this article right quick while we're on it. I'm going to stop sharing this newsletter just for a minute, and I'm going to show you an article by Leola Brown. Thank you for saying Leo. Thank you, Joanne, for sending me a Cash App. Blessing. God bless you. Having a smile on you. And may the Creator bless you all 100 times, 100-fold more than what you blessed me with. Thank you for 642 people being in the chat. Like the channel, please. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Okay, Leola Brown says, a woman is claiming to be Whitney Houston's daughter. Whitney Houston's sister-in-law, Leola Brown, is responding to a report that the I'm Every Woman singer became pregnant in high school when she was just 16 years old and gave the child up for adoption. Allegedly, she was forced to do so. Trust that. Yes, there's a woman out there who claims she's Whitney Houston's daughter, Leola Brown told IE. I'm going to try and help her as much as I can because if this is true, I want to help her. Leola Brown also discussed new allegations about the death of Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobbi Kristina. Leola claims new evidence suggests her niece was beaten and starved before she was found in a bathtub. Somebody wanted her unalive, she told them. I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina. She said Bobbi Kristina was starved to death. And she goes on to talk more about Bobbi Kristina's death, but she first spoke about Whitney Houston, and Whitney has shown me pictures and letters and all kind of documents that alludes to Leola and Rena actually having some type of communication. She's also shown me pictures of her at her mother Whitney Houston's gravesite because Cissy Houston, who wasn't Whitney's real mother, but in fact was her handler, Cissy Houston allowed Rena to go to the funeral. So that is some type of evidence of this being true. And then if you look at the song, I'm so emotional, baby, every time I think of you, Whitney Houston singing at this. If you look at the video, you'll see at the end of it, the very end, you see her singing, she's smiling, she's happy, she's dancing, and then Whitney bends down and somebody lifts up a child. She kisses that child. That's Rena. It's amazing. So that's that. Now let's get to this article because I'm excited about the quarantine being lifted. Quarantine on planet Earth is about to be lifted. This is published by Benjamin Pfeffer on November the 25th, just 3 days ago, on his website. The quarantine on the planet Earth is about to be lifted, according to Secret Space Program and Asian Secret Society sources. Humans will now be allowed to explore and colonize other planets and the universe as soon as the final satanic presence is removed from this world, the sources say. This came up at a meeting on Sunday between representatives of the White Dragon Society and Asian secret societies. Of course, as always is the case with such talk, believe it when you see it. However, there can be no doubt this planet is under quarantine. As a child, I remember being highly inspired by the Apollo moon landings. We were told we would be visiting Mars by the mid-1970s. Then everything suddenly stopped. Pfeffer writes. Even now, every time Elon Musk tries to send a rocket to Mars, it gets blown up before it even leaves the planet. It turns out that NASA is just a movie production company pretending to explore space so that it can swindle money from United States taxpayers. NASA themselves have admitted they are phony when they had a press conference to say they might have discovered a way to get through the ionosphere, the electric barrier surrounding the Earth. Since you would have to get through the ionosphere to go to the moon, they basically admitted the moon landings were false or fake. What came up at the East-West meeting and from other sources is that the planet is under quarantine because entities that survive by harvesting the life force from human and animal sacrifices have been cornered on this planet and are now being eliminated. Once they are fully eliminated, the quarantine will be lifted, so they say. Anyway, back to the here now news. The Khazarian Mafia is still busy fighting for survival. Those elite bloodline families that enslaved the planet, we're calling them the Khazarian Mafia, the deep state, the cabal. They're still fighting for survival using a fake Donald Trump. Remember, I told you there are two Trumps. They're using a fake Donald Trump holding court at Mar-a-Lago. The head of the MI6 and other sources say that this is an operation being run by Elon Musk and Leo Zagami. In their latest ruse, they put out an announcement that Trump has selected Scott Bessent to lead the United States Department of Treasury. And here's the article that supports that. The new person that will lead the U.S. Treasury, because Janet Yellen stepped down as the U.S. Treasury Secretary, by the way, family members, this the other day. Supposedly a homosexual who made all his money from George Soros, who lives in Charleston with his husband and 2 children, and who is a member of a satanic Yale secret society, is now in charge of the United States dollar. Never mind that Bennett hosted a fundraiser for Al Gore and has also donated to Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Then there was the announcement that Trump had allegedly appointed a COVID contrarian, Dr. Martin Makary, to lead the Food and Drug Administration. Never mind that Makary was telling pregnant women to take the toxic mRNA shots as late as 2023. And here's the article there that supports that claim. The photo below of Anthony Fauci with his wife shows you exactly what sort of swamp creatures we're dealing with. And this is his wife. Look how masculine she looks. Okay, is she transgender, transformer? I don't know. If you believe the real Donald Trump nominated these people, then I have some real estate on the moon that I'd like to sell you, Benjamin Forford writes. In addition to trying to fool us with the fake Trump cabinet, the Satanists have once again been busy trying to start World War III and kill most of us. And as you all know, number 46 has encouraged Ukrainian government officials to strike Russia. And if that happens, that will incite World War III. And this would be, to me, a great time for Donald Trump or the military to come up now, stand up and to the forefront, issue out an emergency broadcast system announcement of some sort and say that the Brunson brother case against Biden, Harris, Nancy Pelosi, and 385 members of Congress have been heard, and that case against the whole Biden administration not only has been heard, but it has been found in favor of the Brunson brothers. Because if in fact the Supreme Court, either the whole Supreme Court or Justice Clarence Thomas ruled on that and said, yes, that the Biden administration participated in election fraud, and they allowed illegals to vote, and they allowed thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens to come to our country, thus making our country unsafe. If all that's been proven to be the case, then that means that all of the Biden administration, him, Pelosi, Harris, 385 members of Congress, are supposed to have all their credentials stripped, and they can never serve again, and they will have to face military tribunals. This will be a great time to make that announcement that the Supreme Court, in fact, ruled in favor of the Brunson brothers, and therefore the whole Biden administration can be told to step down, because that saying that they in fact rigged the elections will mean that the outcome in 2020 and 2022 will be ruled as null and void, and the whole Biden administration will have to step down, and Trump can come at the forefront as the president before being inaugurated in January. So will that happen? I don't know, but it could happen. So he says, in addition to trying to fool us with fake Trump cabinets, the Satanists have been once again busy trying to start World War III, and they're trying to kill most of us. As has been widely reported, they started shooting long-range missiles into Russia for this very purpose. Taj, I see you sent me a photo, but I can't see it on my phone because I'm live. Can you send me something through my email or put a link in the comment section? Then I can pull it up for our family to see. Then they activated their networks in Russia to try to fan the flames of all-out thermonuclear war. Thus, Russian Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev said, if the escalation scenario continues to unfold, it won't be possible to exclude anything because NATO countries have in fact joined the conflict. And then here's the link here. There used to be a photograph of Medvedev making a satanic hand sign when meeting Putin, but it seems to have been removed from the internet. Nonetheless, he is a known Satanist agent. Somebody says Aleister Crowley's son is Barbara Bush. Michelle Obama was not the first transsexual to be the first lady. Thank you, Smoke Miami. Okay, back to Benjamin Forford's letter. The real Russian government, however, is fully aware of the Khazarian mafia plot to start World War III and their plot to kill 90% of humanity. So they were fooled into attacking a NATO country. Instead, they demonstrated a very devastating non-nuclear weapon inside Ukraine. MI6 confirms that after the Russian missile counterattack, there was a hysterical attempt inside NATO to use this as an excuse for retaliation with nuclear weapons. Again, though cooler heads prevailed. Secret Space Force sources affiliated with the real Donald Trump at Cheyenne Mountain promises to take action soon against the frauds at Mar-a-Lago and NATO. Because remember, he said a fake Trump is at Mar-a-Lago. A source in direct contact with Trump says the plan is for the Supreme Court to announce what? Oh, shoot. Oh, they're going to say to announce the Brunson brothers case, but you have to, in order to read the rest of the newsletter, I have to have a paid subscription. So again, a source in direct contact with Trump says that there's a plan for the Supreme Court to announce that they ruled in favor of the Brunson brothers, stating that Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, 385 members of Congress, poses a security breach to our nation and participate in electric fraud and allow illegal aliens to vote in the elections. Now, we know that the Biden administration allowed people to vote illegally because people have been reporting that you don't even have to show your ID to vote, not even in the 2024 elections. But also the Biden administration admitted to flying in over 320,000 illegal aliens. And you can find that on the internet. But the Biden administration actually admitted to that happening. So the beginning of that article talks about how the whole planet was under quarantine and how they had intended to kill us all, but that has been reversed and the quarantine will soon be lifted. So I put that link in the description section for you or in the comment section, and I'll also put the article there. I'll put the link to his Rumble channel as well, so that you can get a subscription to his channel, a subscription to his newsletter, and read the rest for yourself. But this is something we all know. We know that the planet is ascending. We know that we've reached entered the age of Aquarius, We know this is the golden era. We know that President Donald Trump and the Grand Army of the Republic, as well as the Galactic Federation, or those benevolent or good interdimensional beings, are taking down the deep state on our behalf to liberate humanity. We also know that there was a Supreme Court ruling, and I said it when it happened. I announced it earlier this year when it happened, that said that state-sponsored banks can now separate from the Federal Reserve central banking system, have their own charter, and issue out their own gold-backed currencies. So we see the republic being restored and the return to lawful money being silver and gold. We also saw more than 45 states reclaim silver and gold. Now we're saying 50 states have reclaimed silver and gold as money. And we know that happened when they repealed, one by one, these states repealed or removed the state sales taxes from the sales of precious metals. So when you see and hear information about states repealing the state sales taxes from the sales of precious metals, you know they are now acknowledging silver and gold as money. No longer can silver or gold be deemed as a commodity like trading cards or a piece of art or artifacts. Now they have to be seen as and used as money. So this is a wonderful time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be alive. We also know the quarantine on the planet is being lifted again because the Supreme Court this summer overturned the Chevron doctrine. The Chevron doctrine said that all of these 439 so-called federal agencies that created their own statutes, codes, policies. Thank you for the cash app. I didn't get to see who that was. Hey, thank you so much. I just saw, God bless you, creator, smile on you. I'm looking at Instagram from my phone so I can see when the cash app comes through, but I missed your name. So God bless you. I'm so grateful for you. When the Supreme Court, may the creator bless you 100-fold, okay? And bless you with prosperity, peace, and abundance. And may the creator bless all of us quickly. We command it to be so. We command our blessings, our prosperity, our peace, love, joy, and happy vibrations to come into our reality right now. We command the wealth to be distributed right now. We command trillions to be injected into the global economy so we can help our family members with these humanitarian projects right now. So we have power to speak it. And so we're using our power of word to bring it into our reality right now. So back to the Supreme Court. They said that these 439 companies or agencies are not in fact part of our government, but they are corporations or dead entities that were in cahoots with the United States Incorporated of these elite bloodline families to enslave us through their policy, statutes, and codes, and had nothing to do with the Constitution for our republic. Now, many people have asked me, what are those federal agencies? They're right here. Let me put this in the comment section for you here, and then I will also put it in the description link. Thank you so much, CD City. God bless you. I appreciate you for the financial blessing. Oh, thank you, Cameron. Oh, God bless you. I can see your name coming through. I appreciate the financial contribution. I'm so grateful. Thank you, family. Oh, thank you, Courtney. God bless you. I'm so grateful to you all. God bless you with 100-fold, 1,000-fold, family. Thank you so much. Here it is right here. That's the federal agencies. So let me read these federal agencies, just some of them for you. Well, it's 441 agencies that are called federal agencies or government agencies that will be ruled or have been ruled unconstitutional and treasonous. They will all be dismantled. Again, driver's license, you should have never had to have. Licenses to have businesses, that should have never happened. Being taxed with interests, that should never be happened. Paying income taxes through the IRS, that should have never happened. All of this is unlawful. They did it to enslave us. But now that that's been lifted, we know that the quarantine has been lifted, and all of these programs and policies to keep us enslaved has been reversed. So you see the Administrative Conference of the United States, Administrative Office of the United States, the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, all the agricultural departments, Food and Drug Administration, Farm Production and Conservative, all of these, Animal and Plant Health Inspection, Agricultural Marketing Service, Agricultural Research Service, all of this. Federal Crop Insurance Corporation, Food and Nutrition Service. Oh, look at all these under Agricultural Department. Look at all these right here. Then you have Air Quality National Commission, Air Transportation Stabilization, 441 agencies. How can we abide by all these laws? Okay, they would create so many rules and policies and statutes that it'd be hard to know which one is which. You know, it's like there's so many rules that you're bound to break one of them, right? And they kept doing this so that we can not have any freedom, so they can control every area of our lives. Antitrust Modernization, Amtrak Reform Council. Look at this. Assassination Records Review Board, Arms Control and Disarmament Agency, Central Intelligence Agency, Census Monitoring Board, Broadcasting Board of Governors. Then you have the Commerce Department, the Census Bureau, Economic Analysis, Economic Development Administration, Foreign Trade Zone. Look at all this. Minority Business Development, National Institute of Standard and Technology. Look at all these entities under Commerce Department. Then you have Commission of Fine Arts, Immigration Services, Commission on Social Security. Look at all these C's. Then the Defense Department. Under that, Air Force Department, Army Department, Defense Acquisition Regulations, Engineering Court, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Look at all these agencies. The Navy Department. Then you have Defense Nuclear Facilities. You see all these D's? Then the Education Department. Then you have Election Assistance Commission, Emergency Oil and Gas. Then you have all these under the Energy Department, Environmental, Export Information Departments. Oh, look at all these federal, look, Farm Credit Union, Farm Credit Administration, Federal Accounting Standards, Federal Acquisition Regulation, Federal Communications Commission, Federal Deposit Insurance, Federal Election Commission. Look at all this foolishness. Federal Maritime Commission, Federal Mine Safety and Health Review. Look at all this. Then you have the G's, Government Accountability Office, Harry S. Truman Scholarship Foundation even. I only have 10% of my phone battery left, so let me hurry up. Then you have all the Health and Human Services, all these agencies under the H's, Homeland Security, all these agencies, Housing Development, all these agencies, Indian Arts, Institute of American Indian Arts, Interior Department has all this. Look at all this foolishness. How can you how can you comply with all of these laws? Look at this, the N's, the O's, the P's, the Peace Corps, Pacific Northwest Electrical Power and Conservation Planning Council. Look at this. Presidential Advisory Committee. Look at this. All the P's, the S's. Smithsonian Institute is where they hid all of the Aboriginal people. So the Black people, the African Americans here, they did not come from African slave ships. That was a lie. Most of us were already here when Christopher Columbus got here. I'm going to put up a video where you see people who are European scholars and people from European descent actually stayed in this as well. What they did was they stole our artifacts and they put them hid them in the Smithsonian Institute. They took our ancestors, they took the children, the young ones, miseducated them in their schools, Rockefeller funded schools, lied to them, said y'all all came from African slave ships, rather than telling them that they were the Aboriginal copper-colored people here. And when you look at the 1828 Webster's definition of American, it will say the copper-colored people found here by Christopher Columbus, but now applied to Europeans. Then it goes on to say we're all American, but it first lets you know who the Aboriginal or original Americans were. So we didn't come from slave ships from Africa. We were already here. When you read the accounts that were written by the Europeans that came here, they said, wow, these people have high cheekbones, they're tawny, they're dark, they're ruddy, they're copper colored. They have wide noses, kinky, coily hair, nappy hair, whatever they call it back then. And so in order to get our people from knowing that we are the original people here, they actually hid our stuff in the Smithsonian Institute. They allow, now we know that we had Asian or Mongoloid people that came here that crossed the Bering Strait. Those are the ones that they call Native American. Native means you come from somewhere else. They weren't the Aboriginal people, but they allowed them to take some of the government grants, et cetera, et cetera. Well, some of them did mix in with us, but they weren't the original or Aboriginal people that Christopher Columbus found here. They, and as well as some Europeans that were, that the bloodline families put in place, they allowed them to get on what's called the Dawes Road and become a $5 Indian. They could pay $5 to get on this road to say I'm Indian, and they were able to get government benefits by claiming to be Native American. But the copper-colored people founded by Christopher Columbus had their categorization changed. We're the only people that's reclassified every 5 or 10 or 20 years. We were from Aboriginal, and we were called Aboriginal and Indigenous. Then they changed it to Indian, then they changed it to colored, then they changed us to being called Negroid, then they changed it to be called Black and African American, but we were the original people here. And Empress Verdiasi L. Gostin Turner Bay sued the United States Incorporated for lying to the people, the Aboriginal people here. And she said that she brought the allodial title to the land, said my people we were here first, we had the land here. We did have treaties of peace and friendship with some of our European brothers and sisters that came here. They had their own laws, their own flag, the red, white, blue flag. We had our own flag, which is the flag of the Moroccan dynasty that started in America and spread out. All the Morocco, Egypt, all that started here in America. And the peoples went out, and all these other countries were named from what we had here. Our flag is the red, green, and gold flag, I believe it is. But anyway, mostly red and green is our color. But she said they came here and they we had a treaty of peace and friendship, but the group of bloodline families stole our land and hid our artifacts in the Smithsonian Institute, stole our language, lied to our children, and they need to compensate us. She won her claims in the amount of $85 quadrillion. She won her claims at the same time the farmers won their claims against the United States Incorporated and the central banking system. So you guys are going to see all this information come out very, very soon. Look at all these S's, the T's, transportation department, all these institutions, all those corporations here, the Treasury Department, all these entities here, and it goes all the way up to the Women's Progress Commemorative Commission. So I just wanted to show you that these are all of the agencies that are considered to be federal agencies. I got this from the Federal Register here at federalregister.gov/agencies. 441 agencies, family. So I wanted to show you all of these were ruled as unconstitutional and treasonous, and they have to be taken down. So this is how I know, in fact, the quarantine has been lifted, because the Supreme Court of the United States ruled against these corporations when they overturned the Chevron doctrine. They also ruled against child sex trafficking, and they ruled against unaliving children when they overturned Roe versus Wade. That wasn't about trying to control women and their reproductive rights, because they knew, in fact, they had to overturn, because before the federal government didn't tell you what to do with your body. The federal government is not, they had to overturn this because the federal government is not lawful. They're not constitutional. They're not even a government. They're a group of bloodline family members that are run by archons, dracons, reptilians that aren't even human. They put in place this law of abortion, and they paid this woman who they call Roe, which that was not her real name, Norma something McCormick or something like that. They paid her to lie. She admitted they paid her to lie. She said she was raped by 3 Black men and she became pregnant, and she should have the right to abort her child because she didn't want to have a child of rapists. And this is what they use, the rhetoric they use to encourage women to unalive their children. They call it a reproductive right program, when in fact, this whole program was spearheaded by Margaret Sanger, who was a known eugenicist. She wanted to kill out whole groups of family members, whole generations. And she started in the so-called Black community. And she said, they must never know what we're trying to do by getting rid of Black folk. Why did she want to do that? Why did she and her bloodline people, she might have even been a transformer, put most of the abortion clinics in the so-called Black community, because they were the Aboriginal people here who were prisoners of war, not chattel slaves, prisoners of war, because the bloodline families usurped authority from our republic, our constitution, caused division between us and the Europeans that came here trying to escape what these bloodline families were doing in Europe. They were enslaved to the Europeans. Their children were going through the fire. Their children were sacrificed. They were going through the same thing we're going through today. They tried to escape it. They tried to come here to seek peace, and they were living peacefully, had their own flag, the red, white, and blue flag, their own laws. We had a treaty of peace and friendship between us, but these bloodline families pit us against each other. You see, put certain ones of our European brothers and sisters in government offices to be gatekeepers to keep us out from certain places, even though we were the ones who were the original people on the land here. When I say we, I just mean our ancestors. But by now, we've all mixed in, we've all made love, we've married each other. We just want peace. But these bloodline families have created programs and policies, statutes, and codes to divide us and enslave us. And they put us in some type of quarantine. They also created religion to enslave us. Now, I don't have any qualms against religion. I'm saying they did it in such a way that it would divide us. But we've awakened. We've awakened. All praises to the Most High. We know who we are, family. So that's all I want you to know, family. I love you all. I'm so grateful that we're awakening to the truth. I'm so grateful that we're open to the truth, and that we have decided that we're going to stick together as one unit, one soul family, and support and love each other and bring in our new golden reality. I can't tell anybody if they should file their 2025 taxes. I didn't. I told my family to write the IRS and ask them for forgiveness, and because of the economic condition of the world right now. Most people that did that were successful, or you can just appeal it or put it off, through they go by their policies to do it. if you want to, but I can't tell people what to do because, it's not my place to do that. But in 2022 or 2023, the IRS actually made official statements that nobody should pay their taxes. And I actually did podcasts when they're reading their official statements, telling people not to pay taxes. And they were saying the reason for that is because they couldn't figure out how to put it in how to balance their books for the stimulus checks. They came up with some bogus reason, but my research by interviewing certain people, talking to certain people who were part of the IRS, was that they knew that they were being taken down. So you had House Resolution and Bills 24 and 20. House Resolution 24 and 25 that monitored the IRS and the Federal Reserve, and they said they would dismantle them. And we actually see different representatives taking down the IRS and the Federal Reserve. And at the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, I think his name is, he came down with CV last year, and many of us knew that meant that he actually had been dealt with at Guantanamo Bay. He's faced military tribunals. And again, the United States Treasury Secretary, by the way, stepped down. So the latest live I did before today, I actually talked about how we know we're in a new era because the other day there was no moon. We couldn't find a moon. And it just so happened to have been the 61st anniversary of the assassination of JFK Sr. And in that podcast, I also talked about how the Chevron doctrine being overturned was a precursor to us going into the golden era, just, letting us know that it was over for the deep state. All of those agencies are insolvent. I don't know why you still have certain factions of them that are still running, because they're trying, like Benjamin Fulford said, they're hanging on for power. Hundreds of J6ers were recently released, family, so that's huge. The J6ers will most likely be pardoned, but hundreds of them were released. They went back home to their family members, and they were over sentenced. It was determined that they were over sentenced. So the deep state is scared. They're running now because they thought they had them. These are political prisoners. They had every right to assemble. They had every right, according to the Constitution, to not only assemble, but to express their grievance against this coup d'etat that had overtaken our government. They also have a right to form a militia, according to the Constitution, and drag them people out of office. So they should have never been charged. But they've been released. Yellen stepped down. The judge dismissed the J6 case against Trump. Diddy was denied bail for the fourth time. The Brunson case will be heard, and the quarantine, according to our sources, has been released. So this is how we know we've already entered into a new golden era, family. So while you're celebrating Thanksgiving, I encourage you to also celebrate and thank God for a source for us being liberated, and celebrate the finances that are coming online. Celebrate the dinar being revalued and soon to be trading on Forex, and all those foreign currencies that you have. Celebrate that it's time to do those exchanges almost, because this summer banks met globally to make sure that they were prepared to receive tier 2 assets, which means they're prepared to do currency exchanges. So I did podcasts on that. I showed you the article. That article has been taken off the internet, but I will put in the description section my actual video doing that, talking about how the banks have met globally to determine that they're ready to receive your foreign currencies. So because these foreign currencies that they will receive will keep the banks from going bankrupt. They need you. And in that podcast that I did at the time that these banks met globally, I actually read the article that they scrubbed from the internet, but you see me reading the article. So that's some evidence that this actually occurred. So let's give thanks to the Most High, family, for all these wonderful things that are happening in our reality. And let's speak it into being, and let's walk in it. Let us walk now as if it's happening right now. So raise your vibrations, stay encouraged, know that the Creator is working on our behalf, know that these galactic interdimensional beings that are working for us have taken down the deep state, know that the quarantine has been lifted, know that you're wealthy, start working on your humanitarian projects, get your house in order, outline and categorize all your currencies, and do whatever it takes. Tell your family members that, God is in control, and do whatever it takes, family, to keep your vibrations high, because this is our time. This is the Jubilee season, the Platinum Jubilee this year. So it has to happen very soon. So that's all I want to say, family. It again is our time. So many wonderful things are happening, but I don't have time to bring them out right now. Tina says, if we have foreign currencies, do we need to do a humanitarian project? I don't think they can force you to do a humanitarian project because it's your money, but I think it's just something that they say would be a good idea to do. Although some people say that the ZIM is for humanitarian projects. So do you need to do it? I'm not sure. I'm just doing it because how much money can you really use? We already know if you have foreign currencies and those all those currencies are reinstated to their normal value based on the country's resources that each country have, that revaluation or reinstatement of the value of these countries' currency is going to be very high because all the countries have repatriated their gold and their artifacts from the Vatican. So not only do they have rare earth minerals and gold and silver, palladium, platinum, and other precious metals in their countries, they've repatriated a lot of the gold that was stolen from them, and that will support their currencies, their local currencies. So when we have this revaluation, this global currency revaluation, this global currency reset, which is a dismantling of the old fiat system and a going into the gold standard all across the globe, all countries' currencies will be one-to-one with each other. So if you have currencies and you go to the bank and get a new exchange rate, once they all revalue, you're going to be very, very wealthy. On top of the whole planet, every human being on this planet will have tens of thousands of dollars put into their own personal bank account to compensate us for these unlawful banking laws that were put on us, making us take out loans to get interest rates, all that. Making us pay rent. We weren't supposed to pay rent. All that was supposed to come out of our trust that I told you about earlier. So all of us will receive tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars on top of whatever you hold in currencies each month for 11 years in a non-interest bearing account. So it won't accrue interest. So you still need to know how to manage your money, but it's still going to be a lot. And you can fact check me on this. Guyana, as a matter of fact, Guyana, Guyana, South America, their president has already said he's going to give each South Guyanese, South American, $100,000, $100,000 grant. All they have to do is be 21 years of age and prove their nationality. He even went a step further and said, if you're overseas or abroad, you would receive your $100,000 grant. This is just the first step or move towards JASARA in that particular country, in that region of our planet. $100,000. And some people say that's not enough money, but hey, I'll take it. And it's better than what they had, nothing, right? Or being in a deficit. So again, this is just the precursor or the beginning. So we can see this playing out with NESARA and JASARA, this National Economic Security and Reformation Act, or the global version, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act. So we should get excited and be happy for our South American brothers and sisters and know this is going to happen to all of us. So my point is saying we're all going to have tens of thousands of dollars in our account, 11 years in a non-interest bearing account, but it's going to be a whole lot of money on top of the currencies that you have. And we're moving to the gold standard. All countries' currencies will be one-to-one with each other. And we're moving back to the prices of the 1950s. And when you're on the gold standard, you have more purchasing power. A house that might have cost $100,000 might cost $5,000, $10,000 when you're on the gold standard. Your money is going to stretch further. So I would say if you have that type of wealth, make a YouTube channel outlining your project as a reference. I do have many YouTube videos about humanitarian projects too to help you out with that. So I'm saying, well, all the money we'll have, why not help our family members by creating humanitarian projects? But I don't think you have to do it. That's just me talking. Will we be able to help others with humanitarian efforts if we are not certain if starting our own? I don't understand your question. Will you be able to help others with humanitarian efforts if we're not certain if starting our own? I don't understand your question. You'll be able to help whomever you want or desire. We have videos, Gold Star Mother Susan Price and I, on how to do a humanitarian project. And then Dave XRP Lion One took our videos, put them together, and he summarized it. So I have to remember, give me a couple hours or maybe a day or so to put all this in the description section of my YouTube channel and my Rumble channel so you all can have the help that you need. What if you turn age after 2020? If you turn over 21 after, you're still going to get it. If you turn 21 or whatever age they say after 2025, you're still going to get it. It's just that you have to be 21 to get these benefits. But this is benefits for everybody all across the globe. Who's going to need the help if everybody has money? Everybody won't have money initially. Okay, so what we're hearing is that those people, the RV would likely happen before NESARA benefits are actually put into everybody's account. So with the revaluation of currencies and people getting money with the exchange, once their currencies, once they go to the bank and get a higher exchange rate on those currencies, they exchange them in for the new rate. I'm hearing that that will happen before the NESARA benefits. But, you know, some people might not need help, but we still need to clean the water. We need to clean the air. We need to help people that have mental illnesses, because if you have a mental illness and you're going to have money at some point, but you don't have it now, you may still need help. Also, the med beds are going to come out before people have a whole lot of money, but they will be free, is what I'm hearing. And the med bed is something that was a gift that was given to us by our galactic family. It detects every ailment in your body and it cures it once you enter that body. And you can also age regress and go back and your age. Yeah, it's like a fountain of youth for you. So everybody's going to be wealthy, but my understanding, what I've been told is that those of you who have currencies will most likely become wealthy first. And now I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I'm told. So the whole humanitarian project thing, you know, it, to your point, it could be kind of outdated because the humanitarian effort actually started in the 70s and 80s. And so those were government programs from benevolent or good people in the government that said, we're going to have an era of humanitarian projects to help people that are in poverty. And so these people went around to different churches and organizations to tap on the shoulders of people and say, if you want to apply for these funds, this is how you do it. They had to have security clearance. They had to be checked, all that. And they had to be proven worthy to manage all this money. But that humanitarian project aid was held up by the deep state. They didn't want those funds to be released. All that happened before the deep state was taken down, before we had this information about a global currency reset, before the RV, right? So those people were told you're going to have humanitarian funds that the government went around to tell people to apply for it, but the money came from secret societies and secret family members, and from the Philippines, from the gold that was in the Philippines, from what did Benjamin Forford called them, the White Dragon Society, these benevolent secret society programs that was trying to liberate us. These are connected to interdimensional beings that had trust. These were connected to the Saint Germain Trust, the Solomon Dynasty Trust, the Filipino Trust, the trust that Princess Elizabeth is over. All those funds were supposed to come out in the 70s, but they were held up. To your point, this whole humanitarian project idea could be outdated. We might not need to do it if everybody's going to be wealthy. So I would say let's just prepare just in case. I think it's a good idea to create humanitarian projects, you know, just to be a philanthropist, just to show our goodwill for humanity. But if they don't need our money, then we can use the money to help our posterity and our future generations. So I thank you so much for that question. Tier 2 assets are a foreign currency. So when banks say that they're preparing, or they met globally to make sure they were ready to receive your Tier 2 assets, they were talking about your foreign currencies. A lot of people that I know that are into digital coins, yes, they get XLM, XLD, and XRP, as well as many others. So family, that's about it. I've been online for 2 hours. I got to go. My family members been checking on me. I smell the food cooking. I thank you all so much for tuning in. I thank you all for all of your encouragement. I thank you all for helping me with the podcast by asking questions. Who is this? We will help humanity and we'll help each other. Yes. Some people will be unemployed. People got unemployment with the CV and no one would work. Oh, wow. Adelaida says, your gifts, talents, and experience will make a way to get started. So I hope that's it. Any final questions, family? I don't want to keep you too much longer. My family want me to come eat. You're welcome. Somebody says big thanks. You're welcome. I'll put all of these articles in the description section. I usually do it on my videos, articles and videos to support my claim, to support the things that I'm saying, just to be evidence. You know, I don't want you all to think I'm making this stuff up at the top of my head. So we have 743 people in the chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to everyone who sent me cash apps. I still see cash apps coming in. I appreciate you. I love you so much. My cash app is $ Mama Kia 13. I'm not working as much as I used to, but I have gotten back out and started teaching again. I love the work. Since YouTube had taken down like 7 of my channels, at least I have this one back up now, and I'm most grateful for whoever is in charge of removing the censorship, because my channel has been reinstated and I'm allowed finally to monetize. In the meantime, you all have been sending me blessings, monetary blessings, gifts in the mail, prayers, words of encouragement, all that. I'm so happy, family. Thank you so much for tuning in. I see you all on Instagram. I haven't forgotten about you here. We need quantum frequency channels heard throughout the planet. Oh, that's a good suggestion. Do I have some matriarchs that are ready to start coming together to create our own government? No, I don't. I'm so grateful, though, for the feminine energy coming in. The feminine energy that's coming in to balance out all of our patriarchal or our energy. You know, we need the divine feminine and divine masculine to work together to balance each other out. So that's it. Peace to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving. I thank you for the hearts on Instagram. I love you all so much. I don't often get on Instagram, but I try to let you all know that I have videos on my YouTube channel. So that's about it, family. I want to go eat, and I want you to enjoy your family members. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt. I trust that I've said something, anything, to raise your vibrations and inspire you to create the most amazing, magnificent life that you desire and deserve. Go enjoy your family's family and make this a great day and a great year. And stand in your truth, knowing that Nasara, Jasara, and the golden era are here now, and that the quarantine has been lifted. And even if somebody says, no, it hasn't been lifted, oh, you're making this stuff up, say, I'm speaking it. So I'm commanding it to be lifted right now, and it will be so, family. So people can live on their own timeline. They want to live in a timeline of enslavement, or they don't want to know that we've been liberated. That's their choice. But over here, as for us and as for me and my house, we know that we've been set free, and we command it to be so, because we have God living inside of us. And the scripture says, know ye not that ye are gods. So walk and act like it, family. You have dominion. Dominion, that means you have power and authority. Let's use it. Let's speak it into existence. Have a wonderful day. Go enjoy your family members. Mwah. I love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.